Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with
Blessing Eche,
Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Good morning. It's another beautiful day. Another opportunity has presented itself because every day is just like a new opportunity, and what you do with it will determine your day. Another time has presented itself for us to look at issues related to business, finance, national development, and the economy. This is Early Exchange, and I am Femi Ayodele. As you know, that Early Exchange is all about shaping policy and advancing development. Today, our focus is going to be on the activities of the Bureau de Change operators, what is popularly known as the black market for forex or parallel market here. We're going to look at the contribution of this set of people to the economy and the impact they've made on the economy over decades. Don't forget that this program is your program. What implies is that you can be part of this discussion, you can be part of this conversation. All you just have to do is to go on our social media platform, on our YouTube platform, using the hashtag Early Exchange. We hope that as you spend the next 3 hours with us, will add value to your time and will make your day productive. All right, let's set the ball rolling for this program with news update as usual. We'll switch over to our newsroom now, where Afreta is standing by to take us around the world with news update. Afreta, how are you today?
A beautiful morning to you, Femi, and of course, to you joining us on news updates right here on Souq News. I am Alfreta Ambe-Basi, bringing you all the latest updates all over the globe. On our top stories this morning, Senate charges revenue agencies to surpass 2024 target. JAMB adjusts registration fees for enhanced 2024 UTME examination. Morocco's tourism industry thrives despite hurdles. EU takes positive action, launches investigation into social media company X. Now, we take the news in details. President Bola Tinubu has affirmed federal government's commitment to make the country become a premier destination for offshore and onshore investments. He gave this assurance at a meeting with Total Energies Group Chairman and CEO, Mr. Patrick Puyen, in Abuja, while reassuring the international investment community of his administration's dedication to eliminate obstacles in the oil and gas industry. He stressed the government's resolve to enhance the investment climate. According to a press release signed by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Njuri Ngelali, the President commends Total Energies for its extensive contributions to Nigeria's oil and gas sector and outlined plans to review fiscal aspects and incentivize gas production to align with cleaner energy transitions. And now the Senate Committee on Finance has directed revenue-generating agencies to exceed the set target of 18.324 trillion naira for the 2024 fiscal year. President Bola Tinubu, in presenting the total projected expenditure of 27.503 trillion naira for 2024, outlined 18.324 trillion naira as the revenue target and 9.18 trillion naira as the deficit to be covered by the internal and external borrowings and proceeds from privatization. The Finance Committee, led by Senator Mohammed Sani Musa, urged them not only to meet but surpass their revenue projections. The committee aims to ensure that the proposed 2024 budget, designed to reduce deficit budgeting, is fully implemented through oversight and regular interfaces with revenue-generated agencies. And away from that, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has announced an adjustment in the registration fees for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination in 2024. The updated fees, revealed in a statement, indicate a rise to 7,700 naira for UTME registration, which includes a mock examination, and 6,200 naira for UTME registration without the mock exam. Previously, the JAM form without a mock exam cost 5,700 naira, while the application form inclusive of a mock exam was priced at 6,700 naira. Prospective candidates can commence profile creation on JAM website, with official application document sales starting on Monday, January 15th, 2024, and registration deadline of Monday, February 26th, 2024. And still in the education sector, the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, TRCN, has revealed that 3,963 teachers were successful in the November 2023 professional qualifying examination conducted nationwide. The council's registration professor, Josiah Jiboye, who revealed this, explained that out of the 15,753 teachers who participated in the examination across 38 centers in Nigeria, 10,636 successfully passed, representing approximately 72.9%. The remaining 3,963 candidates did not meet the qualifying criteria. He mentioned that some candidates were absent, while others faced result cancellations due to involvement in examination malpractices. And now to tax matters. The president of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, Barrister Samuel Lushola Agbeluyi, has commended the government's initiative to raise the tax to GDP ratio from 10.86% to 18%, considering it a positive step. However, he emphasized the need for the government to encourage voluntary compliance by reducing excessive spending. Speaking at the Society of Women in Taxation retreat in Abuja, Agbeluyi noted that toning down wasteful spending would foster voluntary compliance among Nigerians. The national chairperson of the Society of Women in Taxation, SWIT, Bosede Ikanoba, expressed that the retreat aimed to build the capacity of officers and coordinators, facilitating feedback and interaction among state chapters. The Independent Petroleum Producers Group has advocated for a thorough review of crucial aspects of the Petroleum Industry Act to fortify the regulatory framework and enhance the fiscal regime's competitiveness. The group proposes amendments to sustain the decade of gas policy and address industry inefficiencies comprehensively. The chairman of the group, Abdul Razak Issa, who revealed this, stressed the urgent need for a conducive environment to heighten industry competitiveness. In response, Special Advisor to the President on Energy, Olu Vehejen, disclosed the government's approval of an import duty waiver to promote gas utilization as one of the ways to improve efficiency and effectiveness in the sector. More stories still to come after this break. Stay with us.
My name is Olatunji Shoti Miri. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timmy Dakolo and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News for everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news. Souq News is your station.
It's glad to know you're still with us right here on News Update on Souq News. I am Alfreda Ambeibasi. Please do well to follow us and engage on all our social media platforms. And now we turn to Madagascar, where President Andry Rajoelina has begun his new term as Madagascar's leader with the taking of oath despite opposition boycotts and international concerns. The 49-year-old president pledged to lead the country of 29 million with integrity to overcome poverty. Opposition leaders, part of a coalition with protested against the November 16 vote, boycotted the election, denouncing it as a constitutional coup d'etat. Rajoelina, securing victory without a second-round vote, faces international pressure to address electoral irregularities and implement reforms. Despite the challenges, the president aims to revive the economy and improve livelihoods in one of the world's poorest countries. Morocco's tourism industry is on track for a remarkable year, showcasing resilience despite challenges. And despite the impact of September earthquake and reported disruptions in winter bookings due to the conflict in Gaza, the sector plays a pivotal role in the country's economy, contributing 7% to the gross domestic product and serving as a key source of foreign currency. The tourism ministry is optimistic about the year-end figures, projecting 14 million arrivals by the close of 2023, with 13.2 million visitors already recorded by the end of November. This positive performance is not only testament to the industry's ability to overcome setbacks, but also highlights its crucial role in sustaining economic growth and stability in Morocco. And now, Iran's oil minister, Javad Uyi, has confirmed that the nationwide disruption to petrol stations was the result of a cyber attack. A hacking group allegedly linked to Israel claimed responsibility for the attack, leading to service disruptions at about 70% of Iran's petrol stations. It initially suggested outside interference as a possible cause, but later stated that 1,650 petrol stations were operational out of the 3,800 supervised by the ministry. The group responsible for the cyber attack identified itself as Predatory Sparrow. And now the European Union announced on Monday that it will launch an investigation into social media company X, formerly known as Twitter, for a suspected breach of obligations under the Digital Services Act. The act, in effect since November last year, mandates larger online platforms to take more action against illegal content, protect public security, and guard against manipulative techniques. The investigation will focus on combating the dissemination of illegal content in the EU, evaluating measures against information manipulation, particularly the community note system, and assessing X's efforts to increase platform transparency. Additionally, it will scrutinize the suspected deceptive design of the user interface, including checkmarks linked to subscription products. And now FIFA has announced the launch of a new edition of the Club World Cup in June 2025 to feature renowned football clubs like Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester City and Real Madrid. Set to unfold in the United States from June 15 to July 13, 2025, a year before the World Cup partially hosted in the USA, the tournament will gather 32 teams organized into 8 groups for the group stage. Following the group phase, a knockout stage will commence with a round of 16. Similarly, teams from 6 international confederations will participate, including CAF, AFC, amongst others. And that's all we have for you on news updates this morning. I am Alfreda Ambibasi. Early Exchange continues with Femi Ayodele and Blessing AJ. Stay with us.
My name is Olatunji Shotimirin. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timmy and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News. For everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news, Souq News is your station.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown.
Hi, my name is Fred Amata and you're on to Souq News.
If you're watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it because this is Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souq News. Here's the Souq News who had the courage to transcend a locked off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souq News. Thank you very much.
My name is Olatunji Shotimirin. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timmy and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News. For everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news, Souq News is your station.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing AJ, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
Government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil.
Energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, it's a bismarck. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
All right, thank you, Freta, for that news update. You actually took us around the world and giving us global updates. Now it's time for news analysis. Always my pleasure to always, introduce this segment to you because it's a time where we review all the major headlines trended today. And as usual, you have an in-house team ready for you. I hope you're also ready. Good morning, gentlemen of the press.
Good morning, Femi.
Lesson, how are you today?
I am good. I received the memo.
Oh, great. It's good. Great minds
think alike. Yes, I guess
that's the way it should work. And I think Doctor too received the memo. Doctor, good morning.
I didn't see any memo. Good morning, Femi. Good morning, viewers.
All right. Let's set the ball rolling with this interesting story. But before we do that, Let's just go on this short break. When we return, then we'll start the news analysis proper. Stay with us.
My name is Olatunji Shoti. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timidakolo, and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News. For everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news, Souq News is your station.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Ache, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
All right, glad to know you're still there with us. We'll kick off this news analysis with this story from the floor of the National Assembly, where the Senate Committee on Finance has directed revenue-generating agencies to exceed the set target of 18.3 trillion for the 2024 fiscal year. Gentlemen and lady, you're aware that I'm used to gentlemen having two analysts in the studio, but the good thing is a few weeks ago, our president, President Tinubu, presented the 2024 budget to the National Assembly, which is to the tune of 27.3 trillion this time around. And a projection has been set, revenue projection being set for 2024 is about 18.3 trillion. And so if you look at the revenue agencies, they've been given the obligation to ensure that this target is being met. And that's what the Senate Committee on Finance is saying. That's what the Senate Committee on Finance is saying, that all the agencies that are involved in revenue generation in 2024 has to do everything to ensure that they meet up with this target. It's just like they are like marketers now for Nigeria, when you have a marketer, a target is being set for the marketer to ensure that you generate revenue. So these agencies, they've been obliged to generate revenue for Nigeria. I'm hoping they meet up with this expectation. But let me start with the wise man in the house. Are you optimistic that this revenue projection, 18.3 trillion naira, is going to be a reality?
well, quickly, very, very optimistic, and I think Mr. President himself is not missing word in terms of the kind of target he's setting for himself and the government. I think what the National Assembly really need to do is not just to talk to revenue agencies, it's actually to put structures in place to block the leakages of revenue, which is the real problem. Now, if you listen to Mr. President while he was inaugurating the board of NNPCL yesterday, there was something he said, and he said critically, the cost of producing petrol in Nigeria is unacceptable, and that eats deep into the revenue. So he is actually looking at a situation where, of course, we're looking for appropriate measure to cut down on the excesses, the cost of generating the revenue and what comes to the federation account at the end of the day. So you can have that balance. If all the agencies of government, we block the loopholes, and the only way to do this is to actually use technology. So once we can deploy technology to drive the revenue process, we can exceed the 18 trillion threshold, and I'm very sure of that.
Well, I just hope that increasing revenue or surpassing the revenue generation projection does not mean that there will be increase in the fees attached to certain services. When you go to a particular ministry, maybe you're supposed to obtain one document or the other, what you pay, I do hope that doesn't increase, because if it does happen that way, it means people having to pay more for government services and services they need these agencies for. I really don't. I think that's something we should be pursuing at the moment.
No, I don't think more revenue will actually mean more taxes or more levies. What it means is that we're looking at the agencies opening up their eyes to some certain things. Take, for example, Nigerian Customs, for example. There are a lot of companies that are enjoying waivers, either that are granted by the federal government or the custom authorities. And this is revenue loss to the government. So once you block all those waivers, because the whole essence of granting company waivers is to ensure that these companies are able to produce goods and services that are reasonably priced. But what you have seen over the years is that you don't even see the impact of the waiver on the price of goods in society. So what I think the National Assembly they are looking into is that those leakages of revenue, once you block those avenues, what you will get is that you will have more coming in. Like I've always said here, it's not about more taxes, it's how to extend the dragnet of the tax to capture more people, because it's a volume trade. If you have many people paying 5 naira and 1 or 2 person is paying 20 naira, you will see at the end of the day you have more money having like 100 people paying 5 naira than 2 people paying just 20 naira. This is what we should actually be targeting, so that it's not putting more burden on the common man who's already overburdened, but to see that the agencies of government are not giving unnecessary waivers to friends and cronies that, of course, take away from the revenue of government.
I do hope that it should be an ideal situation, because you said what we should be targeting. Sometimes the ideal doesn't always happen. For instance, renewal of driver's license. You may get there, you find that it's been increased. It's all part of increasing revenue. So how they interpret the instruction or the directive to increase revenue is the worry here for me, because the interpretation may just be different from one agency to another, and that may mean increase in the cost of or in the fees attached to obtaining or procuring certain documents. Or
somehow you still can't rule out the fact that the end users will still have to bear the burden a little. A good example is the custom waiver that was granted on liquefied gas, the common gas, cooking gas, which was recently granted. Tax waiver and custom duties was waived so that to reduce the cost of cooking gas. And the essence of doing that, because in recent times that has added to the cost of cooking gas, and the burden is transferred to the end users. So the president came up with that initiative, for instance, to ensure that that price is being reduced. But now, if, for instance, the waiver is being removed or is not being granted, what it means is you have to pay more for that kind of product. But more importantly, what should be done, like agencies like the Federal Inland Revenue, when you talk about these revenue agencies, you have Nigerian Customs, Federal Inland Revenue, and some other departments when it comes to the petroleum resources. And so what they need to do is to look for those people, to widen the tax nets, especially in the informal sector, those who have not been captured, to ensure that they increase their target. Federal Inland Revenue Service for years, they've been meeting their target, in fact, a point exceeding their target, even Nigerian Customs. But if you look at the maritime sector, or the blue economy itself, like what the senior advocate of Nigeria said, Agbakoba, that sector itself has the tendency to generate about 7 trillion naira annually, or it's not being exploited the way it ought to be, taken advantage of. And I'm happy this time around that the president is looking in that direction. That's why he has widened the scope of that ministry, not just maritime alone, but you have blue economy being added to it. If you look at the potential from blue economy alone, is enough to give us the target we're looking for. And so, but what's more important is for us not just to do the talk, but also walk the talk to ensure that this target is being met. And I hope we can supersede it. I mean, you can surpass it if everything is put in charge to ensure that the needful is being done. And I think Nigeria has the potential. It's just for us to tap the needed resources and then the right action at the right time. All right. Let's hope this will become a reality in 2024. 2024 is almost here.
The potentials are quite high because a whole lot of things are changing. And while we were talking about people coming into the economy to do business, just yesterday, the president also had a meeting with Total Energy, who had promised to bring into the economy in 2024 about $6 billion in investment in the liquefied natural gas sector. This is all coming, and this will generate a lot of economic activities that can drive the potentials for Nigerian increased revenue in 2024.
Maybe the next story we explain how this is going to be a reality. It's all about tax as well. You know, this is coming from the president of the Chartered Institute of Taxation, Samuel Agbelui, who has commended the government's initiative to raise tax to GDP ratio from 10.8 to 18%. You know, this is, as we speak, the tax to GDP ratio is just 10%, you know. But the federal government is looking at increasing it to 18%, you know, in the coming year. And they've set a timeline of 3 years to ensure that this is being met. You're aware that in recent time, the federal government has been making moves to come up with some tax reforms. That was why it created a special committee, a tax law committee, headed by Taiwo Oyedele, and they've been coming up with several observations, some of their findings as regards the tax laws in Nigeria. They need to harmonize them and to ensure that these laws are working, and to also ensure that you, even as a citizen or as a business owner, you know the number of taxes you're expected to pay in a country like Nigeria, because this scheme, the tax scheme, is not harmonized, and it's been coming up with some of these revelations to ensure that they improve the process so that more taxes can be made, and then it will mean more revenue for Nigeria. What do you think about this initiative? Tax to GDP ratio in Nigeria from 10% to 18%?
Well, I think it's, for me, all the energy that Mr. President is putting into this conversation to say how we can do business of government real well. I was looking at the meeting yesterday between the Lagos State government and then, of course, Oyedele on how to streamline tax operation. Now, they've been meeting with stakeholders to really know what the issues are and how to do this. And I was seeing Governor Sanwo-Olu say yesterday that if all the encumbrances are taken away, Lagos has a potential of generating internally 7 trillion through tax, appropriate tax. And this is what it is, that you are actually becoming more transparent in the way you are doing your tax policy. A lot of people are encouraged to participate, and this raises the volume. And so that gap, which of course had been there over a year, you can take them away. That many people are paying, a lot of people are participating, we can capture almost everybody. And this is why I keep talking about e-government, e-government, e-government. That is the only way to go. That we'll be able to see where everybody is, and that will start with a proper national identification. So we know what people are doing, we know who is doing what, we know who is selling what, we know what kind of trade they're doing, and we will be able to actually pull all of these resources together to build that $1 trillion economy that we're all looking towards.
I think it's part of what we talked about before, the agencies actually increasing revenue. For the FIRS, I have this confidence in them that they will be able to expand the tax net and shore up the gap between the GDP ratio and the tax ratio. But I would want to see a kind of synergy between the FIRS and even the local government, so that some of the measures they've used to ensure that there is compliance with tax payments, if we can work out something for the local government, because at the informal sector, you find that a lot of persons comply with the levies that they are supposed to pay, they comply with tax payments, but it doesn't go directly into government coffers because of the use of third party, and sometimes there are so many that it's hard to actually trace who collects what, where it goes to. So if we can have that controlled, so that whatever comes from the informal sector goes directly into government coffers. And then for companies that seem to be evading tax, be on them a whole lot, so that nobody invade tax, and then the compliance level increases. But government also has a role on the other hand, because when you're asking people to pay tax, it's a two-way traffic. You don't just say pay your tax, and at the end of the day, people pay tax. They don't find around them what the tax has been used for. That's a disincentive. That's a discouragement to pay tax. So as much as a tax should be paid, then we should see visible evidence that these taxes are utilized. It will be an encouragement for people to pay.
The reality is, for some conservative citizens, there's still this trust deficit when it comes to the issue of payment of taxes. They still believe that, okay, why do I need to pay this? If I've been paying over the years and I'm not seeing the result, what is government doing with the money? And so it's still in existence, and that has to be corrected over time, not just overnight, by what they do with the money.
Yes, so if we can see it, then more persons will be convinced when you ask them to pay their tax. But if they can't see it, it's just like you're putting money, you don't know where the money goes to. People some will not want to pay if they can avoid it.
I think it's not just about trust, about government not using money. I don't think that's the reason why people evade tax. You know, I think it's just a societal thing. I have had this argument severally at different fora about what PPAK wrote in one of his theses. He called it the theory of the two publics, where you have the primordial public and the civil public. And he says in most of African societies, we are much more aligned, we have allegiance to the primordial public than we have to the civil public. Now, what this means is that if they say in your rural village, Blessing, that there's a need to do something, everybody is rallying around without anybody putting pressure on anybody, because we want to see ourselves as good citizens or ambassadors of our own community or our ethnic nationality. But such loyalties are not transferred to the state. And that's because the state is not seen as part or as our own. It's seen as their own. And so the loyalty that we have to our primordial settings, we can't transfer it to the nation. That's why patriotism is rare. That's why nationalism is rare. It's really not a matter of trust deficit. It's the fact that we cannot see that the state structure belongs to us. I usually tell people, if you are from a village and you want to go to city to work, they still see civil service job as the white man's job. Because the state is not seen as belonging to us. It's seen as belonging to them. And so when people are getting into the state structure, they're not going there with the mind of going to say, okay, we're serving ourselves. So we are evading because we don't believe it belongs to us. It's not really a matter that we don't see what government is doing with it. It's a matter of patriotism, that we're not seeing the state as ours, but the way we do with our primordial or ethnic settings. So this is the real issue. How we are going to drive this conversation, and I think this is the job of the National Orientation Agency. I remember sometime in 2010 when we were going to do the Nigerian 50th anniversary, we tried to launch this project called One Me, One Nation, so that people can begin to transfer allegiance from their primordial setting to the national setting. But politics killed that project.
I think it would be a combination of both, because even when you're able to, through the National Orientation Agency, drive home some orientation that it all belongs to us, you will find people popping the question, so the ones who've been paying, what has it been used for? So if we can make the two work together, then I think we're good to go.
Yeah, I want to agree less. The reason is simple. When you go to other society where things are working, you see citizens who believe in their systems and the way they support the systems. But the challenge here is that we don't see such patriotism, even for the people who are directly benefiting. This is the issue. The other day we were talking about IPPIS and UTAS. And one of the arguments that, of course, people have not brought to the table is the fact that the deduction was actually the problem. Where, of course, you have to take the tax from the source. And some people don't want to pay tax. And they are the ones that they are spending the government money. So they can't say they don't see where money is being spent. It's just that there's no patriotism in us. Because our allegiance is not to the civil society. The allegiance is to our primordial setting. Now, if the same people have the reason to do some certain things, as long as it has to do the ethnic questions, they don't have any query about it. It's just that you want to bury your mother and they tell you that you have to bring a cow. You don't even negotiate it. You go ahead and submit the cow. You don't ask who take the meat, who eats it. We don't ask those questions. Because we believe, these are not negotiable. So if we can transfer such allegiance to the state, just like you see every American say, God bless America. And all of us begin to say, God bless Nigeria. Great Nigeria. Which means we are taking it as a project. And all of us are guiding it to see how to succeed. Even the pilfering at the center will reduce. So those who are stealing the resources, they are also stealing it, not because they don't believe that the resources is there, because they don't even see themselves as the owner of that project. So you are stealing from somebody, but it's difficult for you to steal from yourself. So the day we agree that this nation belongs to all of us, then we will not steal from it. Then we will begin to see what we're doing with the resources and how this thing is channeled into you. So I agree with PPAK's thesis very well that this ambivalence in our society between the civil and the primordial society is responsible for this trust deficit we talk about.
Another area to look at is this issue of double taxation or multiple taxation, which has also been an age-long crisis when it comes to the issue of tax net. But I'm happy that the committee now, or the Oyedele's task force, they are looking in that direction to see how this can be tackled so that it won't discourage a lot of people who are ready to pay. The point is it's obligatory as a citizen for you to pay your tax. In fact, I strongly believe even those who are in the formalized sectors is because the taxes are deducted from the source or the sources, That makes it, for them to be left with no option than to pay. Where more action or more focus should be on is on the informal sector, where it is not regularized. In fact, some of the activities are not documented. So unlike the formalized sector, which is easier to deduct from the source, the informal sector is not easier, which I think this is area, the committee is also recommended that more action should be taken. So let's hope that in coming years, the year 2024 is looking bright for Nigeria. So let's be hopeful. I always say that in Nigeria, we just have to be hopeful. All right, let's move on to this story that has to do with the oil and gas sector, talking about Petroleum Industry Act, PIA. The independent producers, petroleum producers are asking for or advocating for the crucial review of that act. You're aware that this has been in the pipeline for years until the administration of the former president came on board, President Buhari, and then decided to sign this into law. The PIB, the advocacy has been on for years, and he made history. In fact, he made history. One of the critical things he did as a president was to sign this PIB into law, becoming PIA now. But the independent petroleum producers are also asking for review. And I asked this question in the first place, were these stakeholders not carried along in the first place? Because this was brought to the floor of the National Assembly for review. And you will have expected that the representatives of the people, the House of Rep members, the National Assembly members, who were supposed to be in position to talk about some of these critical reviews, will have done that earlier. Maybe as a result of the fact that the president, the time was not on his side. I needed to make history as well. This was passed in a hurry. But now this group of people are now insisting that there's a need to review. Of course, for every law, there's room for improvement, there's room for review every year if the need arises. And I think this is what those people are talking about. How will you react to this?
Yeah, I think it's not just, incidentally, it's not just this stakeholders talking about it. It's also that the president himself, yesterday, at the inauguration of the board of NPCL, said that the stakeholders, NPPCL board and management, including members of his cabinet, should sit down around a table and look at the PIA Act critically and remove all those obnoxious clauses from it so that it can serve the interests of the nation. And this was just yesterday. So what you're seeing is that everybody is coming almost to a consensus. You know, when you are doing public hearing, few things happen. Some people don't even trust the process in the first place and they don't participate. Take, for example, last week, Oyedele had a stakeholder meeting with members of the press, and I'm not sure you were there to go and lend your voice. Yeah, but it was widely publicized. And this happened when, of course, the National Assembly do stakeholders meeting. So if the stakeholders are not there, they will not be able to make the necessary impact.
In fact, at the point, there were several versions of the PIA.
PIA, yeah. Yes. So what this means is that there are a whole lot of people who are trying to factor in their own interests. And you see, in democracy, the beauty is that you have all sorts of lobbying so that your interests can be captured. And so if you belong to the powers that be, you find that your voice gets the louder and you get more attention. And then you can factor in your interests into the bills. So these are the things that you see. Because nobody actually not everybody act for the common interest of everybody. Everybody is pursuing a particular objective. Even the people who are talking about the amendment to the act, they are not doing so because it will be for the good of the generality of everybody. They are always speaking so from the perspective of how these affect their operations as individuals. Now, and this is the business of government. So we look at it, how rational it is, and then we can amend this act and favor them for a while. After a while, you see another stakeholder crying because what you have done to help one would have become a disadvantage to the other. And so you will get to that point that we will continue to have this conversation around the repealing or the amendment of the act so that at least at the end of the day, all manners of stakeholders stand to benefit from what this is coming. But I think one of the critical areas that everybody is actually looking at is in terms of really fully operationalizing the liberalization of that sector so that the market forces can determine the pricing of petroleum products.
You know, the PIB came with a lot of controversy when the final bill was going through readings at the floor of the National Assembly and eventually it became passed. Now, at that point, you could find that there were uproar in some quarters, particularly those who belong to the host communities regarding the trust fund and the percentage that will go to the host community. But it just had to be passed because it had taken so long to go around the issues that make up the PIB. Because it has been a bill that has been there for a long time, for 20 years or even more. So it just had to be passed. And the assurance that came from even the National Assembly at that particular time is that it's not cast in stone. Over time, the PIA can be amended to attend to certain issues that may come up. But at that point in time, it just had to be passed. Let's even have something to work with. So yes, for concerns that are coming up is welcome, and I think that there is room for amendment, and even after that, some amendment. But the PIB had to be passed. It had to become an act. It was long overdue, and it not being passed was hindering a lot of things in the oil and gas sector.
And for that, the former president made history and caused.
Yeah, of course, because he also put in some factor in some of his things in here, and then of course the current government is also thinking, how do we really accommodate other people? Yesterday, the president called the people of the Niger Delta the goose that is laying the golden egg, and he said the nation must not afford to kill that goose. That egg must continue to come. And so he said in that address to the board that pure water, clean water, good health care, good road is not too much of a demand from the people of the Niger Delta. So that also speaks to the kind of thinking that Mr. President is also putting in terms of the review of this act to see how do we increase the livability in the Niger Delta, make the environment clean enough, invest in the conversion of those cars that is flared into revenue for NNPC. These are the issues that, of course, Mr. President is also looking toward. And don't forget that he's also a stakeholder in the Niger Delta, because if you remember during the campaign, the wife has to say, well, this is my people. And then, of course, we are all at home. So we also have a stake in the Niger Delta, as it were. So these are the issues that are affecting the conversation around the Petroleum Act.
It's like we've stayed too long in Nigeria, so let me take you to Morocco. And that takes us to the next story, talking about the tourism industry in Morocco is on track for a remarkable year. You're aware that several issues happened, the issue of earthquake, that caused about disruptions in the economic activities. But they are springing forth now. In fact, the contribution now is 7% to GDP and is serving as a key source of foreign currency in Morocco. You just came back from Morocco, so give us a feel of what tourism is like in that place.
Well, I think a whole lot is happening in Morocco in terms of influx of people, whether from Africa, Asia, and Europe into Morocco. And that's just to tell you that once you create an enabling environment, people are willing to come and see what is happening. You can imagine that in Marrakesh, for example, where the earthquake happened, in 3 days, they successfully managed the crisis.
That's interesting.
Hospitals, real hospitals, were deployed into those hills and valleys in Marrakesh. And the people in the remote area that were affected, they were having real-time diagnosis. I was in the Alba Technology Lab, and I was watching the entire screen, how technology has transformed even health sector. The king of Morocco is a very progressive young man. He has invested so much in infrastructure, and that is what drives tourism. And if you get to Morocco, the city is also very safe. Because those are the two things.
Yeah, security is crucial.
Security is crucial. Because nobody wants to get into a place and want to be killed or robbed or things like that. So you can feel a sense of safety. And they're also building world-class infrastructure. If you go to Rabat, for example, the city is clean and beautiful. Anybody will want to come back to come and see what is in Rabat. So this is investment in basic infrastructure. But see, what surprised me was I was having a conversation with one of our hosts who said to me, you know, you guys, you have so much resources. Morocco, we don't have resources. All we have is just our head. So we are investing in our head to think and do things well. And I was just shocked. You know, and this is the second time I'm hearing that kind of a statement. I was in Kigali the other day, and my host said to me, just give us only Delta State oil for 1 month and take it back. And then come back and see what we will do with the money. You see, this can tell you the level of decadence really here, that we can be all that God wants us to be if we really will prioritize our nation above our selfish interest. Because you see, here in Morocco, there are some certain things people are talking about, are looking at it and say, you're talking about the issue of corruption. I remember in one of those conversations, we're talking about mining and how technology has driven that sector. And they say, no, that is not for anybody to discuss. because that's for the king.
Leaders actually taking leadership.
So the people are really not interested. All they want to see is good life. They want to see good road. And so they can see that in the last 10 years, that this young man has been on a throne. They've seen infrastructure built, good road network. You can travel from 2 hours from Casablanca to Rabat, or 2 hours from Casablanca to Marrakesh. You won't find a pothole anywhere. The roads are well laid, and you see the greening of the environment, and you will think that you're in the center of Europe.
Yeah, I really want to commend
them. In fact, with
them.
what you've done, I feel like traveling to Morocco.
Exactly. It's able to sell Morocco very well to us.
And you know, the beauty about it is also that the people are very receptive. Quite receptive. Quite friendly. Which is again a big problem that I also find in our climate. Every Moroccan speaks well of Morocco. They are very flexible. They are very accommodating to strangers and foreigners. And this is important also to tourism.
Yes, I think these are things that we can learn. But for me, what's is really I'm really big on regarding Morocco is how they didn't let the natural disaster hinder them. It's rare for you to find a country come back from a natural disaster like this to grow so much in tourism, because that would make people scared, like what's happening. But still, they've been able to reassure the world that Morocco is safe, and they were able to handle the issues. That talks about proactiveness, because if they were not proactive, then that natural disaster really would have caused a major setback for them. But it's something for other African countries to learn. Being proactive, you don't wait for the disaster to happen before you develop capacity to handle situations like that. And then tourism is one thing that every African country has one advantage or the other. How you build that advantage is the issue. Is it in Lagos State? We have so many tourist sites, but how much have we built on it? In other states of Nigeria, there are tourist attractions, but we've not developed them. It seems like we're leaving them to nature because they are natural blessings, so they should develop on their own. Some have even gone from the good state that they were in to becoming a sorry state. So it's high time that we begin to develop the natural resources that we have, develop all sectors, be proactive. Do not wait for the situation to come before we begin to develop capacity to handle them. You know, when it comes to things like natural disasters, we have this thing of saying, God forbid, it will not happen. But you know, sometimes there are signs that tells you some of these things can happen. Remember a time when there was a tremor in Abuja? It happened not even once. And we began to think about that. Should something like that happen? Now, if I say that, people will tell you, God forbid, that you pray for it to happen. But sometimes these things do happen.
Yeah, but this is the point, is how you leverage technology. And this also is helping the psyche of tourists. You can imagine that people who were in that site, they were experts in urban technology lab, who were connected to these remote villages, and tests were being carried out there, and the signals are sent into the technology hub. These things are analyzed in real time, consultancies are sent, prescriptions are made in just almost real time. And then you can see, and they were giving me same example on how they manage their COVID. That it was not just about having the COVID vaccine, that wherever the vaccines were, the state of the refrigeration of those vaccines, the temperature, were measured real time. And you can see the government is interested in the well-being of its people. But like I said to you, they are not priding themselves in natural resources. They are investing in human capital. Human capital. And this is huge. And this is what we have not leveraged. And this is what Nigerians should leverage. Because when you have good human beings, you will have a better society. And imagine today that Morocco which is a French country, is even considering starting all over with English language. Because they say, we deal more with English people. What's French language to us? Now the younger Moroccans are being trained not just to speak French, but to also speak English. Now they have the advantage of having 3 kinds of language. They speak Arabic, they speak French, and they are now learning English language. These are the things that we must encourage in our environment, because it also helps that ability to speak together. So once you come to Morocco, you cannot even differentiate who is a Muslim and who is a Christian, because there's a fuse of culture. You don't see that culture of Islam like you find in most Arab countries. They are almost neutral. You don't see women with hijab or men dressed in a particular way. Everybody dress normal. Until somebody tell you that it's a Muslim, you are not likely to know who is a Muslim or who is a Christian. So you see that fusion of both the European, the Arab, and the African culture merged in one. Is also a sight to behold when you get to Morocco.
See what you've done. In less than 5 minutes, you've been able to convince me.
To go to Morocco?
Maybe when I need to go for vacation.
Okay. Are you thinking of Christmas in Morocco?
Well, you know, that's the interesting thing we need to also do about our country. To talk about the good thing. You know, Nigeria is not just about the bad news. We have the good things happening.
You see, that's why Souq is here.
Yeah.
To talk about the good things about Nigeria, not just all bad news.
There are states where you find so much hospitality, and that's welcome that you want. That's environments, clean environments that you would like to see, but want it to be widespread. So it's not just in some regions, it's not just in some states, it should be in every part of the country. And we used to be known as the happiest people in the world. It's still there. We're still the happiest because despite all we've gone through, we can still smile. We have a warm bears every weekend. That's a sign of happiness. It takes happy people to celebrate. So that's something to be proud about.
All right, gentleman and lady, I need to appreciate you for this. You've done a good job. Doctor, you're not just a good news analysis, you've also done reporting for us. You know, giving us an account of what happened in Morocco. So we must thank you for spending time with us. Thank you very much for...
Always my pleasure to be here.
All right, we'll go on a short break. Our big story for today has to do with the activities of the Bureau de Change in Nigeria, what you popularly know as the parallel market or the black market for forex transactions in Nigeria. And that's what we'll focus on after this short break. Stay with us.
My name is Olatunji Shoti. I'm a performing artist and, you know, television radio presenter and a university lecturer. Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timidakolo, and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News. For everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news, Souq News is your station.
Tafawa Balewa Square, TBS. Tafawa Balewa Square was initially used as a horsing ground called Lagos Race Course. The edifice was constructed by General Yakubu Gowon in 1972 and named after Nigeria's first Prime Minister, Sir Tafawa Balewa. Tafawa Balewa Square is located at 45/57 Masi Bangboshe Street on Lagos Island, Lagos, and referred to as TBS. TBS is a 50,000-seater capacity venue and houses the Remembrance Arcade, the 26-story Independence House, which at a time was the country's tallest building. When Lagos served as the country's seat of government, the National Assembly Complex was within the TBS. Also in the square are the National Broadcasting Commission Office, the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency Office, shopping centers, travel agencies, restaurants, car parking lots, and a bus terminal. Tafawa Balewa Square is adorned with beautiful statues of white horses and red eagles, symbols of strength and dignity. Her historic neighbors include the King's College and the Holy Cross Cathedral. Tafawa Balewa Square hosted some of the country's memorable events, such as the Independence Day in 1960, when Nigeria gained independence from Britain, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, which is celebrated annually on January 15. The edifice is a national cultural asset. Tafawa Balewa Square, Souq Enlightenment.
My name is Olatunji Shoti. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timmy Dakolo, and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News for everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news. Souq News is your station.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
The government says that subsidy is not in oil, and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil.
Energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, it's abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
All right, it's still Early Exchange, and our obligation is to shape policy and advance development with our conversation. Our big story today has to do with the forex exchange market in Nigeria. Precisely, we're looking at the unofficial market, popularly known as the parallel market or the black market, which you often call the bureau de change, or some people call it bureau de change, in Nigeria. We want to look at the contribution of this set of people, these operators. When it comes to those people, their roles are very pivotal to any transaction in Nigeria. You often patronize them. And don't forget, you can be part of this conversation. We would like to hear your view, for you to share your opinion on the activities of these operators. You deal with them every day when you need to exchange or do forex transaction. That's where you go, that market that you go to, that bookie that you patronize. That's the set of people we want to talk about. What's your impression about their activity? What do you feel about the business transactions that they do? Is there a need to regulate them? What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? And where are the areas they can do better? All you just have to do is to go on our YouTube platform, all our social media platforms, Facebook, X, all our social media pages, for you to share your view. And we assure you, your voice will be heard. Just post your comment and we'll read it. Now, to shed more light on this development, on the activities of these operators, and to give us an overview of the forex exchange market in Nigeria, we are being joined by Kasim Gaba, who is the CEO, APT Security and Mutual Funds. Glad to have you join us on Early Exchange this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, always our pleasure to host you. It's been a while. What a great time for us to reunite on Early Exchange. All right. So let's start with you giving us an overview. When you talk about the forex exchange market in Nigeria, the unofficial forex exchange market in Nigeria, popularly known as bureau de change, the activities has been in Nigeria even before independence. Decades they've been in existence. Give us an overview of the significance of these operators to the economy and how sensitive their services are to the nation like Nigeria.
Well, as you are aware, this is a business that is as old as the human being exists. Because since the time of barter trade, where we exchange without even the currency, there is that means of exchanging from one region to other, from one section to
We have a bit of a connection issue with Kasim Garba. As soon as connection gets better with him, we'll continue the conversation. But he was about to tell us about the rules of Bureau de Change operators in Nigeria. But basically, Bureau de Change was set up to provide forex to individuals and small businesses who have need for forex at little or small levels. And over the time, they've been in existence, been in the market, being that intermediary sort of between those who have the Naira and other currencies, so that people can just have their transactions. And from time to time, they've been able to expand from just having a few of them to several of them. There's hardly any city you go to without you finding Bureau de Change operators. Before, they used to be in offices where you need to get to their office and do your exchange. But as you have with almost all businesses, you have them now like retailers standing on the streets. When you go through major cities, they're beckoning on you, asking what's foreign exchange do you need. And because
they have a sign. What's to share?
Yes, yes, yes. And they ask you, is it dollar, is it pounds, whatever it is that you want. So people have become so used to them. Some persons have never had to go into a bank to demand for foreign exchange. All they just know is they are booking on the streets, or some of the Bureau de Change people, and they go there, they make exchange. And because the rates at the Bureau de Change is different from the bank rate. So for those who have foreign exchange to sell, they prefer to go over to the Bureau de Change people because they get more when it comes to the exchange. So that also means that when you want to buy, it's higher. The price at which you get foreign exchange is higher at the Bureau de Change than what you get in the bank. But because of the bottlenecks, the bureaucracies at the bank, a lot of persons even just bypass the banks and go straight on to the Bureau de Change operators. This is what has contributed to their growth over time. But of course, whatever has advantage will definitely come with some disadvantages, because they've been like the major supplier to the informal sector, to individuals for forex exchange. And for quite a while now, they've been sourcing forex by themselves when the CBN stopped allocating forex to them. So it has made the gap between the official rate and then the parallel market rate to widen, because it's kind of difficult sourcing forex, even for the banks, the CBN. It's a challenge. There's been forex scarcity in Nigeria for at least 5 years now, so that too has impacted them, and that's why we have currently, even when the Naira was let to float, you have at the Bureau de Change or the parallel market trading at over 1,000 Naira for to the US dollar. But if you get to the bank, you get it around maybe 700, 800. But how many persons can actually have access to that when they get into the bank? You know, all the forms that you get to fill, the process, and then what you need forex for may not just be approved.
You're doing a good job. No wonder you
very
have
much.
first class.
Thank you very much. You should send me to Morocco for Christmas as a way to thank me.
All right, let's go on a short break now for us to reconnect with our guests. And when we return, we'll be in position to have better conversation as regards the set of operators in Nigeria. Stay with us.
My name is Olatunji Shoti Miri. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timidakolo, and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News. For everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news, Souq News is your station.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
The government says that subsidy is not in oil, and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil.
Energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, it's abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
The government says that subsidy is not in oil, and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil.
Energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, it's abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
All right, it's the Early Exchange. We must apologize for that mix-up, for breaking transmission. But as we always say, we need to move on. In life, there are challenges, but what's more important is you're taking steps to move on. And as for us on Early Exchange, we're moving on. Don't forget our conversation. We're looking at the forest market in Nigeria, the unofficial forest market in Nigeria, popularly known as the parallel market, where you go to where you need to do forest transactions. We would like to hear your voice. We'd like to have your contribution. Don't forget, you can go on our social media platform, on our YouTube page to share your view. And we assure you that before the end of this program, we'll read your comments because it's your program. Now, let's get to the discussion. Our guest is still standing by. We have with us Kasim Gaba, who is the CEO, APT Security and Mutual Funds. Glad to know you're still there with us. For that disruption, the internet played a trick. But now that we have you, please go ahead with your thoughts. You were talking about the impact of these operators on the economy. How significant the activities have been over the years. Please go ahead with your thought now.
Should I talk?
I hope you can hear me now. All right, like what he said something about trade by barter, that since the existence of that method of transaction, the activities of these people has been in existence, you know, it's a reality we have to live it in our society. In fact, for me, why it's easier to patronize them is because of the easy access. If you need to patronize the official market, which is going to banks, you know, CBN, the bureaucracy, the protocol, you know, the time you're going to waste, you know, and then the provisions, the document you're going to provide. So an average Nigerian prefers to patronize those people. And it's so decentralized in a way that it has turned to more of a retail market that even on the street you see them. You know, I jokingly said they have a sign. Once they do, you know they are ready for you know, they are ready for you. And so they've been there over the years, that they've been part of our system. In fact, it's been a challenge for the regulators, the CBN, to regulate their activities because they form part of our daily activities, part of our daily transactions. An average marketer or an average person there in the street, you know, see these people as their customer. They use the word my customer, because of the relationship that have existed with these people over. They are part of our community. They are part of any business transaction. So people prefer to go there. But the other side to it is the fact that that market is not regulated. You know, you don't know who is on. Until recently, the CBN came up with the issue of licensing. Even for the license, it has to be for the big operators. The aboki you see on the street, you're not so sure who is working with. But over time, they've lived up to this responsibility that what's more important is you get the service needed, they provide the service needed. And that's why Nigerians will always prefer going to those places. Even for the ones, for the big transaction, which normally the essence of having this burrito churn is to cater for smaller transactions in foreign currencies, maybe less than $1 million, you know, that if you need something like that, you go to them. But now, even if you need more, people still prefer to go to them because you can easily get what you want.
There's
you can
availability.
easily negotiate, yeah, you know. And then it's so organized that they've constituted themselves into an association. They have president virtually in every state. They have chairman, they have president. It's a national body now. It's well regulated within their space. So it's becoming a big business. The good side to it is also providing job opportunities. A lot of the abokis that you see, you know, the way we use aboki, you know, these days, aboki means friend in Hausa. But a lot of these people that we see, you know, most of them will have been jobless if not for this opportunity created by this kind of market. So they've taken advantage of the opportunities inherent in this kind of provision to ensure that they can earn a living, make money. And it's lucrative because it's just about, you know, exchange value for one or the one currency for the other, and they are making money from it. And so in one way or the other, it's a reality we have to live with, whether we like it or not. As much as the CBN feels there's a need to patronize the official market, the reality is what dictates everyday transaction. In fact, as a businessman, you prefer to go with the exchange rate at the parallel market rather than the official rate, because that determines what your business will look like. And so you pay more attention to that. At a point, you know, we're having a CBN who felt there's a need to maintain the official rate, but now you now have a new regulation whereby the official rate is going hand in hand with the unofficial rate. Both markets are being recognized now. And so it means it's giving room for, you know, there was the issue of liquidity at a point, even at the official market, CBN, you know, talking about the issue of liquidity. And for that to be addressed, these two markets have to operate hand in hand so that at least there will be more forex in the system. And then the issue of FDI too, we also address it. But the greatest challenge that they are facing now is the lack of access to forex, which has been a general issue in Nigeria. You know, yesterday we talk about airlines, domestic airlines struggling with their businesses as a result of not having access to forex. It's also affecting this set of people because that's their product. You know, every marketer has a product, or every businessman has a product to market. So for this set of people, the forex is their product, and so it's not readily available unlike before. So it's becoming challenging for them. Another issue is the issue of, there's this report that suggests that some of these money laundry and some of unofficial, you know,
illicit funds, illicit financial inflows into the parallel market. And yes, that may be occasioned by the reason that they have to source forex for themselves.
And then the fact that it's largely unregulated.
Unregulated. So when they source forex by themselves, where does the forex come from?
Exactly.
That's one question that is being asked. Where does the forex come? Because there's hardly a time you go to the parallel markets that you don't get forex. There's always availability. The only problem is the exchange rate is higher than what you get at the official rate. Even sometimes, some commercial banks have to direct their customers to the parallel market and say, oh, we don't have, but we can refer you to these and that bureau de change for you to get forex. So because it has now had a kind of opaque nature as regards the sourcing of forex, it's really hard to trace where forex is coming in from, because it's like, oh, you said I should go source my forex, so anywhere I see forex, that's where I get forex. So that's a problem too. And I think the CBN has to review that policy and begin to at least allocate forex to them. So
that is if the CBN has enough.
That's if they have enough, yes. But even if it's not as much as what they used to get, that will reduce the need to source forex from wherever, because that sourcing from wherever opens up avenue for lots of illegal things to happen. All right, we've been joined again by Kasimu Garba, who is the CEO at Security, and who will be looking further into the Bureau de Change operators. Welcome back, Kasimu. We do hope that this time around, the internet will allow you to stay with us and talk with us as well.
Yes, I will.
Okay, so you were already talking to us about how Bureau de Change operators came about and their role in the economy. Can you continue with that, please?
Yes, they are very, very essential in running our economies, especially such country, Nigeria, where it's very difficult to get dollar in the right source, that is through the bank. So what it means that even the manufacturers, a lot of them, they source their dollars through Bureau de Change. The reason is very obvious. We have a lot of Nigerians in diaspora, remitting over 20 billion, and most of them, they choose to go through this route because they get the best price from it. And this price tend to be the price decide for the market. Go to anywhere in the market, when they are pricing their stock, they don't price it at the official rate, because the official rate doesn't give you enough forex to trade. Even where you apply officially, you hardly get more than 20%. So the 80%, you do it through this route. And because this is the main supplier of it, so everybody rely on this, and it stands the determining factor of the pricing of our market, because Nigeria is a highly imported country where more than 90% of what we supply in the market are all imported. So therefore, it plays a greater role. And whatever the price stand in that market is what stands for the rest of the market.
Now, there are reports suggesting, just like every sector, the Bureau de Change are contending with limited access to forex, which is the bulk of their transaction. You're also a player in that sector. Give us a picture of how challenging it is for them to stay in business, given this reality, and then what do you think can be done to help their plight, given the fact that they have limited access to forex?
Well, you see, the government, before 1990, there wasn't licensed Bureau de Change. The licensed Bureau de Change, there are not more than 5. So by the time the government licenses, it categorizes into 2, grade A and grade B. At that time, they give grade A as much as $1 million. Well, the grade B, they get into $50,000. Later on, they converge into 2. And by converging them, reducing them into the grade B. And they keep on issuing license towards the civil servants. A lot of civil servants who have no business rush into getting this license. And therefore today, we are talking of over 5,000 licenses. And when you look at the size, even the CBN doesn't have the capacity to control it and monitor it. And therefore the next they run that they cannot supply enough. And they allowed them to run on their own. A lot of the Bureau de Change that were licensed who are not in the business, they are in comatose. They are only holding the license, doing nothing. But those who are into the business, with or without the license, they are still in the business, because both the buyer and the seller, they know them. And anytime you ask for dollar, they can get it for you. And anytime you have a surplus, you can supply it to them. The beauty of it is that you are free to decide your price. And the price varies even within the city. The price of Keja may not be the same with the price of Broad Street. So across the board, even within the Lagos, you would see there is price variation. And talk less across city by city. What we are pricing today may not necessarily be the same with Abuja or Kano. However, there is flexibility. You can buy as much as you want, you can sell as much as you want. And because there is less documentation to it, it makes it welcome to almost everybody. Most of the people that travel abroad, rather than joining the queue in the bank that you may not know when to get it, you better pay the price and get it instantly. And this turns a better role to play in the economy. However, the government could have organized them not only by license, by returns, identifying those who are into the serious business and go for them. And therefore, look for the way that as they give the access to the bank, they should give access to be ready charge. Because the truth of the matter, if you want to control the exchange rate, you have to address the be ready charge. I remember during the time of the late Abacha, when Anini was the Minister of Finance, they supplied the be ready charge, and that gives them the most stable exchange rate ever in the history of the government. Because for most of the period of the Sani Abacha, there wasn't any fluctuation. It constantly remained. From January to December, you hardly see a differences of 5 to 10 naira in the price of dollar. Because they identified the major player and they have taken care of them. And therefore, if the major player also have excess, CBN is willing to mop it from there. And that supplies the exchange rate. But what do you get now? We have a policy that promotes speculators. A lot of people are rushing to buy dollar, not because they want trouble, not because they want to import this, but they see they want to preserve the value of their naira.
Okay, we'll get back to him.
All right, you know, he was talking, the internet has split.
It just raised the valid issues, speculations, and people wanting to keep their funds or money in dollars because of the fear of inflation. That too has put more demand, more pressure on the dollar. All right, we have Kasim Regalba back, so he will continue his line of thoughts. All right, you were talking about people wanting to keep their money now in dollars than in naira. So go ahead with your submissions, please. Please unmute your mic. You're muted now. Turn on your mic.
This brings more pressure to the dollar, and this shouldn't be allowed, because not any country should allow their foreign exchange to be put into the speculative market. That is not the ideal way, and that is not the best way. How do the government know how to handle with this situation? Because today,
Begin to appeal to the network providers to allow us have some good time on the show today and talk about Forex. All right, that aside, people wanting to save money in foreign currencies, it's a big problem because of the inflation. If you have maybe like 500,000 naira, by the time inflation now is about 27.1, over 27%. If you do the math, then you know that 27% of that money has left.
The value will have depreciated.
Yes, so people want to keep that, no matter the inflation, they still have something very good in their bank. So
look at the exchange rate, naira to a dollar. So why wouldn't you prefer to hold.
At least it's like some form of investment, even because of the extra that you will get. But I'm just thinking, at what time do we get to handle all of these issues? Let's take the conversation back to Garba. All right, for the Bureau de Change operators, now there's always availability. There's hardly, if ever it happens, anytime you get to the parallel markets, that you don't get the dollar or you don't get foreign exchange. Now, why is it that the parallel markets will always have dollars available, but we would rarely have enough at the bank? Even though the parallel markets are sourcing by themselves right now. Okay, he'll join us much later.
The challenges is, apart from the fact that the banks themselves are dealing with liquidity constraints, maybe from the CBN and all that, it's also the fact that demand outweighs the supply. And when that happens, there will be a delay. For instance, people want to travel out, who want to study abroad. There are several reasons why people demand for foreign currencies. In fact, I was speaking with an operator who told me that towards the end of the month, you always have this trend where you have pressure on the dollar. Towards the end of the month, people demand, making more demands. And so they know, they are aware. The people at the parallel markets, they are aware. So they source for these things using their connection. In fact, they source from banks, some of them too, because whether you like it or not is a public secret. There is what we call racketeering, you know, and then using their connection for people who are well connected in the bank, so they can get some of these things out, even if they get it on at the official rate. They also come to the parallel market to offer these things for sale so that they can make money, because they are aware that Nigerians depend more on them. So they go all the way to ensure that these things are available. You're talking about over 5,000 operators. So they
all the way.
All the way.
Well, look at that.
Just like CBN will always have what we call means,
okay,
you know, to get things done. They also have their ways and their means of getting this thing done, because they know a lot of people are demanding for their services. So they will always go all the way. Alan, our guest, is back with us. All right, glad to have you reconnected. Please, can you unmute your mic so that we can continue with our conversation?
Yes.
Okay,
you made mention that
please
toward
go
the
ahead.
end of the month you get too much demand of the dollar. This is true because we have the federal government allocation across the state and local government. And trust, most of them, they are not willing to let the money circulate within the economy. They are eager to take the allocation, exchange it into foreign exchange, and move it outside the country. And this put more pressure toward the end of the month. And that's what lead us to where we are today. Because a lot of the money are taken outside the country doing something else. And these need to enforce a laws to ensure that there is check and balances. Why should you get allocation for the state or local government only to be converted into foreign exchange and take outside the country? You are making the economy to suffer more. And that is why inflation keep on going, because the money are not rotated within the country for productivity, so that we have the multiplier effect. If you look at the price of seeds, have doubled more than the exchange rate. And this has to do with a lot of naira being converted into foreign exchange and taken completely outside the economy. And that is not good enough. It's not jurisdiction to be blamed, but rather the issue of the fiscal discipline. Why should the allocation, because this allocation are done through the bank, why should the money get out of that and converted into foreign exchange and taken outside? So there is a trace, and you can trace it and can be checkmate. But this is yet to be seen. And even the government itself encourage more into capital expenditures that warrant taking the money outside the country. When you are buying SUV, when you are buying big machinery and all this, you see that we don't produce them. And therefore, what it means, you are only increasing employment outside the country. The earlier the government insists that restrict ourselves to what we can produce, the better we are. In the 80s, when the highest vehicle you can see any government official ride is 505, our Naira has more value than dollar. But today, what do you see? Most of the vehicles they are running are vehicles that are not assembled or manufactured in the country. And therefore, we need dollar to buy them. And this is where we find ourselves.
Recently, the CBN accused some of those operators, the BDC operators, as agents of money laundering, and the fact that they engage in illicit flow of funds, illegal deeds, and all that. Talk to us. What do you think is largely responsible for it, if it's something to go by, and what has been the impact of these on the market itself?
Well, to me, if the CBN accuses, CBN shouldn't have accused this, because Biridi do not own banks. And if there is any money laundering, it must be through the banks. What did the bank do to try to report these issues? Because Biridi do not own banks, and their business, a lot of it, they route through the bank. The only one that route outside the bank is they just cash, and those cash are very insignificant when you compare to the remittance we get. I think the truth of the matter that if you don't have the right price, people go where the right price is, and that's what it is. Why should you sell your dollar to 900 when you can get 1,160, more than 25% above the official rate? Who will go there? Remember, most of these remittance, they work hard to earn their money. So nobody dictates what rate they will exchange. And that is why the return keep on happening, because everybody wants to get the best out of the little hard currency he earned abroad. So I do not believe that it's more of the money laundering. How many of them they are into that? But the truth of the matter is the price right. Once you are priced right, people go for you.
Let's look at technology. How has the Bureau de Change operators embraced the use of technology? Now, for those who want to exchange cash by cash, Naira for other currencies, they can do that at the parallel markets. But there are those who want to make e-transfers. Now, some of them usually rely on the bank, but there's a limit. How does the Bureau de Change come into this aspect to close the gap, so people do not only have cash when they want to make e-transfers using dollar, they can have access to as much forex that they want, same way they can do it physically?
Well, you see, it's very simple. I'm telling you that when your price is right, people look for you. Most of those who have remittance abroad, they will tell you they have dollar of this quantum, and the buyer is here, he has his Naira. He will just tell that this is, can you transfer it to ABC at so they do it there. Here they get their Naira. So most of them, they may not necessarily have to be routed through the bank because of the bureaucracy. And the easy way, because I can tell you if you really change, can get to 5 to 10 people, different locations in China, in Germany, in US, in UK. At any given time, he will link the supplier and those who are in need of it. Okay, you transfer to this, and here we get the Naira, and the Bureau will confirm to you that it's done, and we'll get the Naira for you here and go ahead and execute it. So a time goes through the bank, a time goes outside the bank. But look at it. The most attractive thing is the price. If you have something to sell, you look at the best price. If you have something to buy, you have to look at where can you get it. So most of the manufacturers today, when they open their letter of credit, it takes them 6 months or 1 year before they complete it in the bank. But if they go through the reduction, they can get it in less than a month or even 2 weeks. And that is why they go for it. Both the supplier and those who are in need of it go there because they find that rule is reliable and the price is okay. Because what is the best for you is to get the price that you can get it available. Today, If you are assigned in your organization, say that you are going to UK to cover a particular event, believe me, no matter how close you are with the bank, I can tell you that event will conclude without getting allocation from the bank. So what choice do you have? What alternative do you have? You have to come to be ready and say, I need this. They say, where is your naira? Give your naira and take this. So the easy way of getting it, the availability of it has to do with the price. So both the demand and supply are always there to take care of the needs. And that is what is working. If the banking system is working, nobody will go. It's just like ATM now. Go to the bank with your ATM, no money. The only one you can get money is POS. You go to those these agents. They will charge you, but they will give you money. I had visited more than 5 banks yesterday. No single money I was able to withdraw. So what choice do I have? But go to the agents. They are ready to give you the money at a price. So do you have any choice than to go to the agent? No choice. Here in Lagos, I'm not talking outside Lagos. So wherever the system does not meet up the demand, you go for the alternative. And be rich send the best alternative for now.
All right, let's look at the scenario where for like 25 months, the CBN or the former CBN governor decided to suspend the supply of forex to the BDC's operators. Now, there are those who come up with this argument that there's a need for the CBN to supply forex to them regularly. Do you subscribe to this argument? Help us weigh the options. What would be the merits and the demerits, especially the impact on the official market if this happens?
Well, you see, CBN has suspended supplying dollar to Bureau de change. It is on record for over 2 years. No supply to Bureau de change. Yet the Bureau de change are operating. The question, you cannot control what you don't have. The banks that are under CBN, do they have enough? The answer is no. Can they meet all the demand? The answer is no. So those suppliers are not within the control of CBN. They are in diaspora. And they know where they get the good price. And most of this exchange you see doesn't not necessarily concluded here. If you are in UK, they have somebody in UK who is to take care of their demand and link both those who are in need of the money and the supplier. Here, what they have is to guarantee him that the naira is covered and the naira reach to the destination that you want it. So in this situation, I will have loved to see how CBN they can bring them to make sure that yes, we recognize you, we recognize your price, but please let us get documentations at less hurdles. Because the documentation you are demanding that beyond what they can supply, you are just like saying that not to it. But try to accommodate them, even for record purpose. If you go by that one, gradually they will come to realize that this is the way and this is how we move about it. But to say that ban them from ABCD, they have already been banned and they still exist because they don't have control over the supplier. And those who are in need, they know where to go to get their dollar. I give you an example of you. Let's assume they assign you, go to Cote d'Ivoire today. We have an event that we want you to cover. Where will you get the dollar? Apply any bank. I doubt much if you can get it. But go to the Mala. With your money, you get it now and you move on. So ease of doing business is what makes people to patronize them. And because they have the right price is what makes the supplier to patronize them. So what can you do about it? If you cannot beat them, join them. I will have loved to see CBN that have carried them along, even for record purpose. Because if they do that, you will see what will be for our economy. It's just like the GDP we are talking. You are talking of the formal economy. A lot of economy is going on informal. If you go to any of these markets, you see the informal business that is running is beyond the formal business that we know about. So if we have a proper record, you will see that our GDP is far ahead of what we are claiming that we are. Because I know many markets, even in the north, where they run billions of transactions on the market without a single bank. How do they do it? They find their ways.
Let's look at the Bureau de Change operators that CBN suspended their licenses in July, about 2,698 of them. How has that impacted the Bureau de Change sector in the economy? And the stoppage of Forex to the BDCs, how can the BDCs continue operations over time? Do we even need more BDCs?
We don't need more BDC. The one that we have, we need to even try to see that how we can put them into the record. The over 2,000 that they have suspended, I tell you, majority of them are those who are issued to the civil servant, who then need to go into the business that is not their business, just because of the official allocation. Now, official allocation has been suspended for over 2 years. So those lessons, they are as good as gone. It's just mere formality to announce that they have been cancelled. But the truth of the matter, they are just after allocation. Without allocation, they cannot survive. Go and check their returns. What was their return? Since the time the CBN stopped allocation, zero. You are a civil servant. You have something to do. You went ahead and obtained 10 Bureau change lists. Simply because you are getting allocation. Now the allocation has been suspended. What can you do? Nothing. You will find that they hardly even have a legitimate office with the staffs. So mere cancelling them is just for cleaning the records. For me, it did not affect the Bureau change because the Bureau change, they are into the business because they have been doing the business with or without the license.
All right, interesting. Now we're due for another break. It's time for us to go on a short break. Don't forget the conversation will continue. And after this short break, we're still dealing with the issue of Forex exchange market in Nigeria. Our conversation with our guests will continue shortly. Just stay with us.
Lateef Jakande. Born Lateef Kayode Jakande in the Ekbetedo area of Lagos Island, Lagos State, on July 1929. He studied at the Lagos Public School at Enowa, Lagos Island, then at Bonham Memorial Methodist School, Port Harcourt, King's College, enrolled at Ilesha Grammar School, where he edited a literary paper called The Quarterly Mirror. Jakande began a career in journalism in 1949 with the Daily Service and joined the Nigerian Tribune in 1953. The owner, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, appointed Jakande editor-in-chief of the Tribune in 1956. Jakande established John West Publications in 1975 after leaving Tribune and began to publish the Lagos News. He served as the first president of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, NPAN. Jakande ran for election as executive governor of Lagos State in 1979 on the Unity Party of Nigeria platform. His administration was effective and open and implemented the cardinal policies of his party. He introduced housing and educational programs targeting the poor, building new neighborhood primary and secondary schools, and providing free primary and secondary education. He gave poor people's children education, and many of them are now very prominent in the society today. Jakande established the Lagos State University and constructed over 30,000 housing units. After the military takeover in 1983, Jakande was charged, prosecuted, and convicted of treason and later pardoned. He served as Minister of Works under the Sani Abacha military regime. He died in Lagos on February 11, 2021. Lateef Jakande was the first civilian governor of Lagos State. Lateef Kayode Jakonde. Souq Enlightenment.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godi Odidi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
Morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, it's a bismarck. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
It's good to know you're still with us on the Early Exchange, and the conversation today centers around Bureau de Change operations in Nigeria. If you perhaps don't know what Bureau de Change is, it's where you go to when you have your dollars and then you want to convert it to Naira. You get into an office and they're giving you the exchange, not inside the bank, outside the bank, or simply say the black market. So let's look at the operations in Nigeria as we look at access to Forex. And all the way in the show, we've been having Kasim Garba, who is the CEO, App Security and Mutual Funds, talk to us about the issues that surrounds Bureau de Change operations in Nigeria. But joining us again much later into the show virtually. He just joined right now, so have been told by our producer. So let's get on with the conversation with Kasimu Garba. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let me take you back to something that you mentioned while talking. You said the rates, the exchange rates differs from location to location. For instance, even in Lagos, you don't get the same rate from one bureau de change to the other within different locations. What informs that situation? What makes it to differ, the rates from location to location?
You see, what makes them differ to the rate, it depends on the source of your supplier. First, if you got your dollar, overseas dollar, which is inflow, the rate is only higher because a lot of Nigerians need that one to buy things abroad. Secondly, the variation hardly go beyond 50 kobo to 1 naira, but it exists probably because of the relationship. You are my customer that bid 100,000 in a week or more. I will try to get the best rate for you. But if you are just on the spot, you come only when you are in need. I don't mind to add you 50 kobo or naira over and above because you are one-off transactions. And also the source. At the time you get it cheaper, at the time you get it higher. So these also bring the differences. And don't forget, daily, they interchange among themselves. What is the rate going on in Kano? They will tell you. What is the rate going on? The rate that is going on in the morning may differ from the rate in the afternoon, may differ from the rate in the evening. Why? One, in the morning, in the afternoon, you can do your dealing through the banks. Most of the time in the evening, except with the electronic, where you can do the transfer, in those days that you hardly do electronic, people doesn't want to keep cash. They prefer to keep card currency. So you see the rate go higher. But in the morning, you can take your money to the bank, you can withdraw from the bank. But now, with the advance of the electronic transfer, it makes life much easier and better. But that did not remove the differences. The differences, the market, what make the beauty of the market. That is when you ask a large A about the exchange rate, you can say, hold on, you can ask B, and you can ask C. So you now compare and see where it makes, because this is money. If you get a difference of 1 naira times 100,000, that means 100,000 naira. So for the buyer, it means a lot. And therefore, because of that, he can ship from A to B. And that would bring the variation. But most of the margin hardly go beyond 2 naira. In most cases, it's 1 naira to 50 kobo, but they do exist. And that is the market for you. And the beauty for it.
I would like you to give us a picture of some of the shortcomings in the parallel market when it comes to the issue of forex. As much as their services are needed, there are issues, there are challenges that they are contending with. Talk to us about some of these shortcomings in that niche, and also some of the challenges the operators are dealing with on a daily basis.
One of the shortcomings that a lot of these people that are into this bureau de change, they are not educationally exposed to the high level. And you will be surprised. You hear that somebody went to the hotel to deliver some dollar and he was killed. Not necessarily taking the security. Somebody give you a call, I need this dollar, I'm in so place, come. They just take it for granted and go there. I remember a time in a hotel in Apapa, somebody was killed after delivering some dollars. So that is one. Two, because we have so many, it has pre-in, pre-out. We have bad hands. You can go to along the street and they will take your dollar without knowing. They are looking, pricing it. Before you know it, they exchange you with the fake one. They take your good one and return a fake one to you. By the time you disagree with the price, you move to the next level, you will find that your dollar is no longer there. This has to do with most of those along the street, because by the time you go back, you cannot locate them. But those who are in the offices, they know they are permanent, they hardly involved into that. And those who are now more educated, they ensure that they have machines, that the machine is counting you the dollar, is taking the number of the dollar and give you a receipt. That, look, I gave you $20, this is the $20,000, but these are the pieces, these are the numbers. So the issue I gave you effect does not arise because already I issued the receipt that shows these numbers. These are those who are elite and those who are highly placed. They have gone to that level. But generally, this is the business that has less documentation. What matters is the money. Yes, you can bring your dollar now, get your naira, and chapter close. And because of this ease of doing things, most of the people prepare to go there because you can give all the documentation that bank may request you to meet. That does not guarantee you getting the dollar. So why should you do all the necessary documentation and yet without getting it? So people prepare to go to the malam, ask for the price, pay your money and get your dollar. If there is any documentation, may not be more than your passport, photocopy or this. Where there is less, they still find the way to cover it because the business has to continue.
Okay, there used to be a time, not so far a distant time, sometime around even last year, there were sites you could go to check for current rates at the parallel markets, and that's the CBN had issues with. So the CBN had to suspend one of those sites, specifically the most popular of them at the time, which is Aboki FX, which was accused of speculation. Really, were they in any way having any impact on the Bureau de Change in regards to how much foreign currencies sold at the parallel markets?
Maybe it has an impact to the media who always go to the Aboki and see the price and say it. But for those who are in the business, Aboki is not the issue. If you ask me what is the current rate today, I just take my phone and call Abuja, they will tell me. I call Ikeja, they will tell me. I will call Agege, they will tell me. So with the phone, you can get the prices going on across the board. So with or without Aboki is not the business, because those who are in business, they know those who are in business. And the price is always there. There is variation between offer for sale and the bid for buyer. So the price is there and the margin is good enough to keep the business going. So with or without Aboki did not affect much of the business, except those who are looking for the information for the sake of saying it. Those are the ones that go to the Aboki. But those who are in business, they go to the business and they talk to the business people and they always tell them the price, offer or sales.
All right. The greatest challenge on the part of the CBN as a regulatory body is the issue of regulation. As you know that this market is largely unregulated. What we think will be the right mechanism that the CBN can deploy to ensure there's proper regulation, especially for the activities of the retailers who are usually on the street, and they are usually the first point of call when you need to access this market. What can be done, or what kind of mechanism can be deployed by the CBN to ensure that this market is regulated, if that is possible?
Okay. In this business, there are those who are in this business for a decade. They probably have inherited from their father, grandfather, and they are there. CBN knows them. Identify those major players, carry them along. And now, in collaboration with them, sanitize the market. You cannot be on the street without representing an agent. You must have an ID. And we know the agent you are representing. Anybody that is on the street buying or selling dollar without representing any agents will be taken to law that you are not representing anybody, and we don't agree with this. If they do that, you will find that first you sanitize the market. Secondly, you help the structure those who are in existence. Because some of them, even with the financial recording and keeping and profit and loss and all this are not there. There is nothing wrong for the government to help those who are into the business, to guide them, structure them, and even assist them to have all this record and documentation. By this one, the CBN will be able to have more statistics of what is going on. Secondly, with them, they will be able to understand the inflow, the outflow, and the proper recording. Until you know it, you cannot control it. But the most important, those who are in the business, they are in the business, identify them, simplify the way they register, and make it as a law. Nobody stand by the street without representing any agent. And anytime, any day, if you are caught without representing any agent, you go to jail. If you do that, you will first sanitize it. And therefore, the agent can be allowed to register maybe as many as 10 or 50 maximum. And you cannot do more. Then you have to go to another one. So by this, they will be able to summarize those who are in the operation. Secondly, simple record. We just need the record for the purpose of recording. You start from simple, known to unknown. Start getting the record. What you do today, what you do, no fault. Whatever the price is immaterial. let us have the record. By the time they start getting this and they formalize them, and those who are not in capacity to standardize, CBN can go to either by recruiting people that either have a lot of unemployment that will help them with a token fee and start recording this, just to try to formalize all their activities and recognize them. Therefore, that will open the room. When there is too much demand, CBN can meet those one and supply through them. When there is excess, CBN can go through them and give them naira and mop it up. By this, it will stabilize this. Secondly, the government needs to apply fiscal policy. It doesn't make sense for Nigerians to be given hard currency for no reason. You are not traveling. You are not a trader. You just for speculation, buy the currency and keep. There should be a law and emphasize it. And if you are caught, you lose the money. By the time you demonstrate it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, others will follow the suit. And there should be no exception, because your minister or your PA to the minister does not guarantee you to hold hard currency. If you do that, you lose your job, you lose the money. If the government becomes serious about this, everybody will sit up, because there is nobody keep currency without knowing. Because currency is not a matter that you do it alone. You must do it through somebody. And therefore, let the informer, those who know those, inform them. When the government get the money, give them 5 to 10%. People will start getting money, and all those that keep the hard currency will be known, because they don't do it alone. So if they take all the necessary measures, you will sanitize and kill speculation, because speculation is giving us top time, and we need to dose that tension in speculation. Let's face the reality. If you want trouble, you need dollar, get it. If you are bad, you don't need dollar, sell it. If you keep it to your court, it will be just taken away by the government. And that law should have no exception. Even if you are on the top level of the government, if you do that, you pay the price. If they do that, you will see that a lot of people that are keeping dollar, they will start bringing it out. And once they started bringing it out, the price will crash. And the moment you kill speculation, we get stability. And once we get stability, we'll go back to our normal business that is just on demand and supply, not for mere speculation.
Okay, so how's the floating of the naira now impacting the BDCs? Are there examples from other developing countries that can be adopted to help stabilize the forex markets?
Well, there is. At least the closest to us here is Dubai. If you go to Dubai, anywhere you can exchange your rate. But you don't exchange it along the street. You walk to the shop, they give you a receipt, they exchange you and give you the currency. And the same thing, if you want to go outside the country, you take your currency, give them dinar, they will give you the dollar or sterling, whatever the currency you need. The ready change are all there across. At the same time, big banks, HSBC, you will see they have the ready change. So if they adopt the same here, I believe it will bring some element of sanity. Look at most of these agencies of POS are agents of the bank, and the bank have a record of what they are doing. But the unfortunate side of it today, you go to the bank, you will not get cash, but the agent have the cash. So how this happen? So yes, CBN can allow, permit even the bank to have the ready change, but sanitize it and ensure there is proper recording. If they do that, I can assure you, and follow with the fiscal policy, those that choose otherwise, they don't get it right. And once you try it 1, 2, 3%, everybody will sit up.
Now, let's look at the issue of liquidity. The CBN is contending with that. So also the commercial banks. You know, we have liquidity constraints in the system. What are the ways that you think the CBN and even the banks as well can address this shortfall that you have in the system? Because as long as you have this, people will always go to the parallel market to source for forex. How can government, the CBN or banks address the shortfall when it comes to liquidity in the Nigerian financial market?
First, you need to know to what extent of your shortfalls are. Because if you know your shortfall, then look the way to meet up the shortfall. And if you look at the way to meet up the shortfall, take measures to avoid reputations. If you do that, it will be over. From the day one, we made it very clear. Egypt, before they streamline their exchange rate, they went to IMF, they went to World Bank and say, look, I have this shortfall. Can you provide me with this? I want to streamline my exchange rate, and they did. And today they are at peace. We streamlined our exchange rate without knowing the shortfall. And the shortfall is that what heated us to where we are today. Had it been, it was identify, quantify, and source to mitigate against it, we shouldn't have hearing the shortfall. It reached a point. Your own dollar you kept in the bank, if you go to the bank, they cannot provide for you. Probably because they have transferred the same to the CBN and CBN cannot supply the same. And this is a serious problem. When you cannot trust bank any longer, to keep your currency, you cannot get it, people look elsewhere. And that's what confounded our problem.
Watching and perhaps thinking of getting into these kind of business, what does it take to become a BDC operator?
CBN, you apply. I don't think now they do give license, but you can buy the existing one. But don't forget, this is a business that with all that license has been in operation. And you go to the border town, you see many people are into this business without any license. First, there is no bank. And the people who are crossing the border, they know them. So when they come with their currency, they reach them. And when they need naira, they exchange to them. And if they need hard currency, they exchange to them. So these are the business that are known. But if you want to formalize it, there is nothing wrong. Identify those who are into it and make life easier for them to formalize it. They are all willing. Nobody wants to operate with that license. But if you make life so difficult, then people will operate without you. I think the CBN can still go back, identify them, because exchange rate, people who are into this business are known. They are not hidden. Anywhere across the border, across the town, go anywhere. If you ask, you will see that they are known. So identify those who are not licensed and now bring them and say, this is how you go about it. If they do that, I can tell you that you will see that they will formalize. And now they are dealing with those who are in the real business. And those who are just mere speculators obtaining the license because they can afford or because they are in the position or authority to obtain it, cancel them. So let those who are in the business to do the business. And once you do that, then you make life very easy. How they make return, how you assisted them in formalizing everything. It doesn't take much to get it done. Or alternatively, make our banking system easier for access and disperse. I have my bank account. If I apply for Biridi, I can get it from the bank. Why should I go to the matter? It's because I didn't get it where I'm supposed to get it. I look somewhere else. So if you make the banking system to work effectively, fine. But don't forget, this is a country that we have over 400 local governments without a single bank. And they still have to exist.
Right. Let's wrap up our conversation with this question. You know, how are BDCs dealing with the issue of counterfeiting and fake notes? The CBN issued an alarm recently that there are fake notes in circulation. I'm just wondering, or curious to know, how BDCs dealing with this, and what has been the impact on the business, and maybe a form of adversary to someone who is a newcomer to that space, what to do when it comes to the issue of fake notes and counterfeiting.
Okay, counterfeiting and fake notes is not an issue to be really changed. Because those who are in the business, believe me sincerely, even if they close their eyes, as soon as they touch it, they would say, this is fake. I was surprising when I went to one Malam, he was counting, he just started removing them, these are fake. His hand touched it, he just removed it. So they are into the business, that is not the issue. But the issue is innocent citizens being shortchanged in trying to get the best price. They get this price, they say no, they will collect their money, not knowing that they are not collecting their actual currency, they are collecting the counterfeit. These are the innocent citizens that I feel very bad. And by the time they go back, they cannot trace who gave it to them. But in the real business, that is not a serious matter. For the bank, their machine dictated. I hardly see any bank that accept counterfeit. In fact, if you go there, that is the end. They will not only deny you, they will destroy you in your instant. So, but counterfeit work in the rural areas where people have worked hard to earn their living, only somebody to come and shortchange them. But in the city, and those who are in the real business, counterfeit is not a problem. And to the banks, counterfeit is not the problem. But the problem is the innocent citizen who do not know, and they take advantage of them, denying them for the hard-working earnings, only to be shortchanged by a counterfeit. And globally, you cannot completely eradicate counterfeit, you can only minimize it. And for here, for me, I can say that it has been reduced to the barest minimum because you hardly hear people now saying that have been given counterfeit. If there is counterfeit, they can easily identify it at this. Most of the people that have counterfeit are those who want to make money overnight. They show them the machine, they are producing this and producing that, and they believe it. But those in real business, it's not a problem to them.
Okay, great. I want to ask, do you have associations? Because some businesses or some trade have associations that internally regulate their activities. Now, in the absence of a proper regulation by the CBN, how can the association, if you have, internally regulate the activities so we don't find a lot of forex hawkers, and it regulates the activities of every operator?
There is an association and they are regulated, and CBN is aware of this, and they do talk with the president of the association. Godabe is the president of the Bureau de Change across the nation. And each region, each state, Lagos have their association. If you go to Agege, they have. If you go to Ikeja, they have. Coming down to Lagos Broad Street, they have. They all have, and they all know their leaders. But membership is where the problem is. The association know the leaders, but the members, is there any identifier that identify all the members? The answer is no. Is there any single identity that said this is a veridiction, this is not? The answer is no, and that is where the problem is. But association exists. CBN know the president of the association, and they do discuss with the association, and they even go training. Even recently, they had a training of veridiction, and they do. And they relate to them through their association. So the association exists.
Let you go now. We must appreciate you for your brilliant submissions. Know that you've lived even more than our expectation. You know, as an authority or a player in this sector, you've given us an overview and a proper, experience when it comes to the nitty-gritty of this business. So we want to say thank you for your time and your commitment and spending time with us on Early Extinct this morning. You're quite appreciated.
Thank you.
All right. We're not done yet. For the sport enthusiast in the house, it's your time now. It's your segment. All you just have to do is to stand by. After this short break, Chooks and Juvie will take you the round of sport, or the world of sport. Just stay with us.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Souq News.
is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
My name is Olatunji Shoti-Miri. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timidakolo and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News. For everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news, Souq News is your station.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
And it's another beautiful morning on this side of the divide. I am Juvi Ofiene and you're still on to Souq Sport, but on this time it's Sportsville on Early Exchange. You know how it is, we keep it locked down. We don't just bring you entertainment, we give you up to date, the business angle to sports information and where the money at. I'm not alone this morning, I got one of the very best in the industry. Our very own.
Yes, good morning. That particular introduction is not tax friendly, so please keep that introduction in-house. Yes, it's been a good Harmattan season, and if you're out there, get some Aboniki and get some nose masks and stop spreading some virus. Let's catch up on sports.
All right, you know how it is. Nigeria has got a 40-man provisional list for the CAF 2024.
Why are you laughing?
40 man. And while we went through it, Boniface, Osimhen, and the rest of them, but I still saw a name. Well, before we started the show, we're talking about Ahmed Musa.
Good.
Ahmed Musa.
A good player.
What is he still doing on that list?
Ahmed Musa is he still playing?
I don't know.
He is still playing.
What club? What club?
Actively
What
playing.
club? What club?
Hold on.
Canopilas?
No.
So where is he right now?
Now you see, there's something you can't take away. You can't take away experience. That's one thing you can't take away from someone. Now Ahmed has got that experience. We have a lot of young boys in that team, and we need somebody with that experience to equalize them. So no matter the opponent they meet, they will never get onto the pitch scared. Even if he's not playing actively, he is there to make sure that these boys are ginger to get the work done. So hey, you can't count experience out of it. We need Ahmed Musa in that team.
Well, I'll respect your opinion for now, but for me, I don't think we need, well, maybe as a coaching crew, maybe you could get Ahmed Musa, but as a player, with what other countries are bringing to the table.
How old, you've watched the Italian team for a while. What's the age average? What's the average age limit in the Italian team?
25.
25. Then what about the most experienced ones?
Well, Maldini and the rest, yes, Bonucci,
They played
they're all retired now.
Hold on. As of when they were still active at the World Cup, they played till over 40.
National team.
And they played
national team.
Yes, and they played
like
very well.
25, am I agree?
And they played
40.
very well. Yes, the keeper, how old was he?
Goalkeeper is quite, I mean,
Good.
running around.
Hold
Ahmed
on.
Musa.
The captain, how old was he?
I've got nothing against Ahmed. I'm just saying, man.
We need that experience.
Okay, we'll take.
There are a lot of young boys there, but we need that experience.
Nigeria has won for those who don't know, Nigeria has won it for 3 times. Yes, the mathematical Segun Odegbami, Steve. It was Chukwu. Yes, Chukwu was the captain of that particular. Then 1994, Stephen Keshi, and the old guys in 2003. But so far,
also coached by Keshi.
Yes, Egypt seems to be the highest in this game, and they still seem to be around the corner because the last time they still qualified for the finals. And Nigeria, when was the last time we're close to this?
You see, runners up, I think we are one of the highest numbers when it comes to runners up. We're good. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. A runners up medal is not bad. We are getting there, but somebody has to win. It's a game. It's a game. Someone has to win. These boys are going to do well, as long as the other side does well.
Well, talking of the other side, we'll leave it at this moment. When we meet at Souq Sport, we'll talk extensively around this. But now, you know, the fixtures are out. UEFA Champions League is out there for those who know. I was just checking clubs that have got successful outings there. You know, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Porto, and Arsenal. Let's bring it home again. Arsenal. You guys have been there 17 times.
Okay.
The closest you got to it was Barcelona again when you lost out.
Some clubs have.
Do you think you guys have got any chance with Porto?
Some clubs have not been there before. Yes or no? Leave Arsenal out of this. Arsenal will do well. They are taking on Porto, right? So good. Porto, sorry, round of 16, you're out.
Well, I hope that's it, because from what I can see, well, I hope apart from Man City, I don't see much with you guys.
There was this trend. I don't know if you caught it on X, Twitter. There was this trend that the fixtures that Man City did something that nobody can really hold there. How did they get who they are playing? No names being mentioned.
Well, that's still arguable. People already, pundits, everyone is speaking like Bayern seem might be in the finals. Check out their
This
fixture.
is football. Anybody is beatable. You
Really?
can take that. Yes.
Champions League experience comes to
Anybody.
play.
I am not arguing.
AC Milan, Newcastle. The other day I was telling Charles, I mean, experience, you can't take it away. The old boys know how to play this game.
I am not arguing with you. Remember, sometime, was it 96? Was it 96 or between 94 and 95 when Ajax won? Who gave them a chance? 4 years ago, Ajax almost got to the final. Who did they beat?
Almost, right?
Now, talk about the Swiss club, Young Boys.
They
came from nowhere. Nobody even knew the name Young Boys. I see the impact they made last season and last 2 seasons.
Sweden is up there in the world ranking, so we can't I mean, just because I think EPL is overly, you know, the sponsorship, the TV rights, so people watch and we feel nothing happens anywhere. English team, what are they doing in the World Cup? The last time they got it, how far have they gone?
English teams, well, let English teams answer, let Englishmen answer for English teams.
All right, Europa, what's happening at the Europa?
Yes, I love that. That is where people really go to bake and get baked. If you fall out from the Champions League, they say, okay, go down there and go try.
Unfortunately, Man U couldn't make it this time. For Man U fans, sorry, not so sorry. Next time, try your luck. Maybe you come to Africa and do something. So, Europa, what are your expectations?
Did you just call Man U in the game of men? What was that supposed to be? Please, let's have some.
Okay, let's look at Europa. Let's look at those that really matter.
Europa League, we have 4 French clubs in Europa League. We have Toulouse, we have Rennes, we have Lens also, then we have Marseille. So I'm sure they're all happy that Sevilla is not playing in this Europa.
Yeah,
because each time they come,
those are your every time customers. And
then we also have 3 Portuguese. We have Sporting CB, we have Benfica, and we have Braga. Now, the fight I am looking at is between Shakhtar and Marseille. That is going to be a very tough one.
So, if you had to place your money?
If I have to place my money, I think I'll go for Shakhtar Donetsk.
Are you sure?
Yes. Why? Because before they were kicked out of the Champions League, they put up a very good fight.
But you know, Europa, it looks like, well, maybe the Spanish club that one would readily think it's their terrain and not there this time. So quite Napoli. Let's do Napoli, Barcelona.
That's Champions League.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think Osimhen, I mean the whole team? It's not just Osimhen right now. Napoli and Barcelona.
A few weeks ago, let's 2 months down the line, they had their form digged. Yeah. But right now they are back in form. So I wish Barcelona the best because we are going to have a cracker. I'm looking forward to that game.
Well, I hope there's going to be any surprise because it looks like, man, with Lewandowski and the rest of the guys, these guys have got a better grip when it comes to UEFA. Because it's just like World Cup. I mean, there are people you expect when they come, especially when it gets to like quarter-final, you see the real guys.
Hope you know Napoli has not picked yet. Yes, they have not picked yet. They had a very good performance last season. They're having a better performance this season.
Are we sure to translate to something?
Just watch.
Okay.
Those that were injured are almost back.
Almost back.
Yes. Although they sold their very good defender. But let's see what the new guys are going to do.
All right. Serie A, Bologna. First half, those guys have got an outstanding first half. You know, they only lost twice, drew 7, won 7, and they look like they are good.
Yes, they are still placed in 4th on the table.
Yeah.
But I think that's their best performance for a very long time.
Very long time, yes. And so I'm saying Napoli is not there yet. First half of the season.
They are coming. It's just like the old steam coal engines. It takes a while, then it steams up. Then once it starts running, get out of the front.
It's December. Before we wrap it up, it's December, and usually there's this saying around Premiership, whoever holds the top position.
Arsenal.
Do you think you guys have got what it takes to sustain this?
Just
like economy, we talk of sustainability.
Okay.
Do you guys have what it takes? It's just 1 point difference, and these other guys are on your heels. Do you think?
I did not come up with that theory of yours.
No, it's back to back. It's proven.
Good.
Apart from Arsenal the last time as well. City.
I still did not come up with that proof. So once you have said it, so shall it be. Arsenal.
I hope you guys have got what it takes to hold it down this time. And then finally, before we call it a wrap on today's edition, I'm still looking at why would you call 40 persons to camp?
You need to bring in your best.
Okay,
then it's a camp. So from there
how many home-based players were on that list?
Exactly. For the home-based players, you need to tune into Souq Sports on Wednesday and get to find out every nitty-gritty of who is in that camp. They will trim it down to 25. So fear not.
So why waste resources?
It's not waste. You open a camp and call players.
There is this talk, you know, we used to have like some people already have spoken roles, like designated, even if they walk into camp 2 days before you decide. We used to have it, Super Eagles. So why not throw it open
hold on. That was in the days of cabal with the Eagles. Now that doesn't work anymore.
Are we done with that?
No, that doesn't work
and
anymore.
so why not open up? We have for our goalkeepers, we have 6.
Yes.
6 goalkeepers,
3
midfielders, 8, just 8.
Yes. It's
defenders,
a camp.
13.
It's called a camp.
Forward, 13, and you have just 8 midfielders.
It's called
what kind
a
of
camp.
team do you think whoever is running this is planning on building?
It's called a camp.
8 midfielders.
I was even expecting more.
I mean, you should get more for your attack and all that. You should have your midfielders.
They will trim it down. Don't worry. They will trim it down.
So they'll trim down to like 4?
No, they will trim the entire team down to like 25, 28. Then they have extra maximum. Should something happen, they'll call you up.
But do we stand a chance this time? I mean, let's be for real here. Let's be for real.
Do we stand?
Do we have I mean, compare Senegal is coming, let's say Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, especially those we usually have issues with the northern boys. Senegal, we used to, you know, they dog us sometimes. Cameroon, I mean, our rival, Ghana.
Why are you scared?
Those guys have got it now. Cameroon has got it like some 5 times. Ghana has 4.
History.
Yes.
History.
But with the,
we are talking about now.
With the team right now, do you think this Nigeria team has that cohesion that would get us there? Because if you check the times we've had it, it's more of a team thing.
Okay.
Whether in 1980, 1994, 2013, it was a team thing. So you don't have one singular like, oh, so you say, oh, Simen. For 94, you never could. Amunike came in. Amunike was doing the wonders. We had the Samson Siasia. We had the Amokachi. In 2013, it was almost the same thing. Do you think this team has got that kind of cohesion that will make us win this thing? Because the girls are doing well, but the boys have not been anywhere.
Juvie, by the time they play the first match, we'll find out. But no, it's 11 men versus 11 men. They can get it done.
All right. With that, we'll call it a wrap. You know how it is. It's on Souq. Early exchange. This is Sports View. We love doing sport like no one else would. And bring your adverts. Let's publish the news everywhere. Your products, your services. We love doing this. I am Juvi Ofiene, and I've been chatting with
Chooks. See ya.
All right, we'll take it back to the early exchange team with Femi Ayodele and Blessing Eiche. Do have yourself a beautiful day. Good morning.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown.
Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you are on to Souq News.
If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it, because this is Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souq News. Here's the Souq News, who had the courage to transcend a locked-off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souq News. Thank you very much.
Morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Eiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
Government says that subsidy is not in oil, and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil.
Energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Yes, it's time to wrap up the show today. We've talked so much about Bureau de Change operations in Nigeria. It is our hope that there'll be more regulation for that sector, and internally they'll find a way to identify their members so that the customers feel safe knowing who belongs to the Association of Bureau de Change Operators, and then they know those to transact business with. But whether we like it or not, at least for now and the near future, they'll be with us, closing the gap for those who need Forex. And we also hope that in good time there would be appreciation of the Naira to not just the dollar, other foreign currencies. I am Blessing Aiche, and that's been the show today. Thank you for staying with us. There are other programs that comes on Souq News. There's sports at noon, so do stay with us and enjoy the rest of your day. Femi?
And for me, remember that every new day is just like a new book. What chapter are you going to write with your life today? That's from me. I am Femi Ayodele. Bye for now.